Alive and Well STL is a presentation of the St. Louis Regional Health Commission and RareGem Productions to build a healthier St. Louis. Power up with the positive. Learn more at OneRareGem.com. That's OneRaregem.com.
Support for Alive and Well STL comes from Beyond Housing, helps entire communities become better places to live. Learn more at beyondhousing.org.
The Regional Health Commission works in partnership with regional health sector advocates and stakeholders to improve healthcare access, reduce health disparities, and improve health outcomes for the uninsured and the underinsured in St. Louis City and County.
Alive and Well STL with Bethany Johnson-Javois, CEO of the St. Louis Integrated Health Network and Managing Director of the Ferguson Commission. Today we open the doors and expand the conversation of Alive and Well STL. You are invited to the table as an ambassador to engage in the next steps of this initiative.
Tell me about your interaction and your response to today's event.
It is actually pretty emotional for me because I came in, I had no idea which group to join, and I sat down, and it was a group that the questions were very near and dear and passionate for me in my heart. I had no idea where I was sitting, and it was in the area of education and students, and I went, wow. Mm-hmm. So I guess in my mind, nothing is an accident. It just struck up a lot of passion in me, and so I actually stayed in that particular area.
As an ambassador, you play an important role, and we look forward to your participation. We'll be right back.
Cheryl, I know you're an advocate of being alive and well in STL. So your definition of alive and well based on your experience here.
Alive and Well today is exploring the different options that we can bring to the solution table. It's looking at, okay, we've got problems. We don't need to spend our time looking at the problems. Let's look at the solutions.
Alive and Well STL. Come on in for the sake of the future of our community. Now let's equip ourselves with the tools and information we can share with family, friends, and colleagues about how they can become alive and well. We are excited about this opportunity.
I'm here this morning at the Richmond Heights Community Center speaking with Aaron Lunsford and Danny O'Malley. So tell me, what brings us together today? Why are you here?
Well, we are here to talk about Alive and Well STL and trying to explain a little bit about the Ambassador, essentially, program. And we've got a bunch of different stations that people go through and talk about case studies about trauma-informed community. Specifically, me and Aaron are here to talk about Bonfire, which is an app that is specifically suited to events and initiatives, and Alive and Well STL has a event, basically a Bonfire page. We're signing people up, and it's the best way to stay informed with the program.
So Aaron, how does Bonfire work?
Yeah, so you go to the App Store on your phone or Google Play, and you can download the app and search for Alive and Well STL. And once you join that group, then you can participate by posting articles or having conversations or share insight that you can give to the community about Alive and Well STL.
So this is really a tool for ambassadors to be able to connect with each other around issues of trauma, around issues of solutions, to be able to present problems that maybe is better figured out amongst a team of people versus an individual, because this stuff can be very challenging. What do you think we should look forward to from today? What is kind of the setup for the day?
I think what we're hoping to get out of it is just some feedback from people about how we think we can bring solutions to some common issues that we experience in the community through these case studies to kind of get the conversation started.
Yeah, I mean, I think this whole initiative is organic. It's sort of from the bottom up. So Bonfire helps do that as well, because there isn't one person that runs the Bonfire. I mean, everybody can post anything. They can have sub-discussions and things like that. And that's part of what we're trying to do here, too, is find out, inform people about trauma-informed communities, but also figure out what's interesting to people.
Mm-hmm. And what from their everyday lives are they dealing with that might be similar to the scenarios that in some ways are made up, but are made up based on the realities of people that we know and that we listen to every day. So we're very focused on the Alive and Well show to make sure people know that there are specific things that they can do to be able to be active in this movement of Alive and Well. Do you have, 3 to 4 things that you think that you want to tell listeners to do through Bonfire or through another means?
One of the first things we'd ask you to do is to download the app like we talked about and just participate in the conversation. Another thing that we could ask you to do is to come to the training that we have scheduled on on February 17th. It's a meeting to help with the mental health board, and it's from 3 to 4:30 or from 6 to 7:30 that day, and it's for us to talk about how trauma impacts social, emotional, and health outcomes.
Also with Bonfire, what would be helpful if you're interested is you can post articles there, videos, any training opportunities that we have, we'll definitely post. But I mean, like we said, this is sort of an organic thing, so it's a great place to discuss things with other ambassadors, post pictures, quotes, etc.
Aaron and Danny, thank you both. We know that you're volunteering, doing multiple things. You can hear the energy, and looks like it's going to be a good turnout and a good day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I know you're an advocate of being alive and well in STL. Tell me about your definition as of today, based on your experience here.
Alive and Well today is exploring the different options that we can bring to the solution table. It's looking at, okay, we've got problems. We don't need to spend our time looking at the problems. Let's look at the solutions.
So what was the scenario that was presented for you for discussion?
This was an interesting one. It was a middle school student that would act out during class, disrupting the class, rocking back and forth, talking out of turn, and insulting the teacher ultimately. And so after several warnings, the teacher tells her to collect her belongings and go to the principal's office. And this order was not well received by the student. Her immediate reaction was to threaten the teacher. So with the student's past behavior and this verbal threat, the principal must now choose how to proceed. And so the group around the facilitated discussion had a lot of experts there, and I felt like I was less of an expert, except that there are so many types of models that we could look at. Mm-hmm. One of them was a peer jury model that is being used in Illinois that really sounded interesting.
In what way? What's a peer jury?
If there are students who have repetitive behavioral issues, apparently they've set this up so that it's almost like a club, but not quite. But that the peers would talk to each other and really look at, and I wish the person was here to talk about it, but really look at what that student can do different, mm-hmm. why they're doing it, having a dialogue. Mm-hmm. And instead of having the student have to justify themselves to teachers or principals or whatever, they could talk with their peers. And I think peer models are something that certainly in the field that I'm in are some of the strongest models you can use.
Is that something that you learned differently today, or you knew about that?
I knew about peer models. We have a program that is really a strong peer-based program. Peer jury was new to me, and I really liked it. The other thing that came out is a community-based model, sort of like what we do. There's a tutoring program that's been extremely successful all across the country. And they train the tutors, they give them tools, they do all those things, but it's all at that lower student level. And so is there something that we could do with a community-based model with community members, training them to be in the schools in the same way, working with students who are having trouble, not just math tutors, but a safe place where they can talk to people.
So what did you have to offer in the conversation?
I offered that particular model because I used to work at Oasis, and that's a really powerful tutoring program. And then the other thing that we all kind of agreed on was that the old school counselor, and I'm from the older school, and the old school counselor role was so helpful, and the counselors are now spread so thin, and they're mostly just focusing on getting them into college. Maybe that counselor role, and they're not always trained to be counselors, so looking at the counselor's role.
Anything in particular that you learned from today's experience?
Yes. If you sit around and have an open conversation, you're going to learn and you're going to be able to share and you're going to walk away better informed.
All right. Well, we'll take it as it is. Thank you for being an ambassador.
Oh, my pleasure. This is wonderful. Good work.
Great. Have a great morning.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Rhonda, good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going today?
Very well. Very well.
So your definition of alive and well is?
My definition of alive and well is community people coming together in wholeness, growing, and I think of a vine, an ivy vine, but it's not necessarily horizontal or vertical. It's kind of all over the place. It just kind of permeates, and it's vibrant, it's alive, it's full of energy.
I love your depiction. Tell me about your interaction and your response to today's event.
It is actually pretty emotional for me because I came in, I had no idea which group to join, and I sat down, and it was a group that the questions were very near and dear and passionate for me in my heart. I had no idea where I was sitting, and it was in the area of education and students. And I went, wow. So I guess in my mind, nothing is an accident. And so it just struck up a lot of passion in me. And so I actually stayed in that particular area.
Tell us about what that scenario was and what was your contribution in that group?
It was a scenario of a student in a classroom, in a middle school classroom, that began rocking back and forth, and teacher became disturbed and sent the student to the principal's office. And as a matter of fact, I can't even remember what the end was, but immediately that for me is a red flag, because there's so many areas in our school systems and with our community and our families that we need to address. So the first thing I began to think about was to start at the top level with the school district. And my thoughts were to lay out 4 different types of orientations with the school district, starting with the administrators and the teachers, understanding there's an orientation of there's some issues that are going on in our community and in our classrooms as well. And notice that I say community and classrooms simultaneously, because the flip of a coin, the head may be the community, but the tail is certainly the classroom, and one cannot exist without the other. So when you're looking at a classroom, you are looking at your community. So when we're talking about having an orientation, starting with the administrators, recognizing what is in our community and what we're looking at in our communities. Then we want to have an orientation with the community as well, where the teachers will sit down and the administrators will sit down and just listen. Listen to the needs of the community. Listen to what's going on in my household. Listen to what's going on in my neighborhood. Listen to what's going on in my church and my grocery stores and the concerns that we have as a community, because they will come back into our classrooms. Then have another meeting, training, whatever you want to call it, where the administrators and the teachers go back and they've heard the concerns, and so here we talk about what are some solutions, what are some things that we can identify, what are some things that we can do better or do well, and what are we doing well. Go back now to the community, to the parents, to the teachers, and say, we've heard you. Here are the things that we have to offer. Here are the things that you said to us that we're doing well. Here are the things that you said to us that we need to work on some more. And now we need you, community, to work with us, to partner with us, so that we can help you and your students and our kids flourish.
I take away from your comment the theme of listening, listening deeply, listening empathetically, and being present before a situation or a crisis, but listening to be able to then act. Yes. But you need to listen first.
You need to listen first. I work in the education system, and many times we sit in meetings and we come up with solutions, and we're really impressed with our solutions, but we haven't heard the needs of the students or the needs of the community. And so listening to see exactly what it is, and we speak our own language, by the way. And we come in and we talk about these things and we speak our language, and then we present it and we go, well, why don't you understand what we're saying? You haven't even heard the issue. You haven't heard the problem. And so listen first, and then let the person know that I am listening, and I'm listening to you, not to duck and load, but I am listening to you to help solve the problem. And I also need you to help me solve this problem as well. So
beautifully put.
Yeah.
So well stated. Is there any other piece of advice, given your experience, or maybe even an invitation that you could give to the listener about coming to these types of events? They're not just, the same old, but what would you say to a person to kind of whet their interest in continuing the Alive and Well movement?
It really does take the village, and it is not about your education level, but it is about your knowledge level. And so if I am a member of the community and I see these kids walk around every day, or I'm in my church and I encounter these issues every day, I've got knowledge. And many times I've got answers. And so it's not, don't be, and I like to backtrack. When these meetings take place, when we come together, everybody's in the same playing field. We're associates. It's not a hierarchy. We're all trying to solve a common problem. So synergistically, if I can help you, if I know something that you don't know, I see these kids every day. They're in my block, and here's what they're talking about. They don't have any place to go at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or whatever the issue may be. Tell them. So now, as a school district or whatever we're doing, we now know, 4 o'clock, that's the hour that we need to solve something.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight, for sharing your emotion and your passion around this topic, and for being an ambassador. Have a great morning.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Susan, good morning.
Good morning.
You've been hard at work. I've seen you running around. I see the smile on your face that comes through. What are you smiling about today?
I have been in wonderful conversations about our schools and how we can work with students, parents, faculty, teachers, admin to build a system and community that's not based on blame, guilt, shame, fear, but very much based on working together to build the strongest education community system that we can. And it's been wonderful to have people drop in and out of the conversation and always come to this really wonderful conclusion of we need to be working together, we need to be having peer communication all the way up from student to student, parent to parent, teacher to teacher, admin to admin, to build something that's safe and happy and supportive for everybody.
So what is missing in that scenario that needs to happen for the educational system, our students, our families, our parents?
What has been discussed in our group conversation today has been that there's so much intimidation, blame, fear, fatigue at all levels of this education system. So the kids are scared, they're tired, they don't really feel in control of what's going on. Teachers are extremely fatigued, they're overwhelmed, a lot of blame of the parents. Parents feel maybe disengaged, intimidated, unsure of what's going on, kind of this school knows best philosophy, and if it's not working, maybe it's their fault, which is not something you want to engage in necessarily, especially if you have 50 other things going on. So working to build a conversation between those people where it's a team approach to figuring out how we can build something supportive.
Can you take a moment to speak to someone who feels like perhaps they need to be an expert in a certain field to understand this concept? Encourage them. Tell them what's possible.
I think it's just about talking to people and letting them know what's going on for you, letting them know what you hope for and what you want, and working together to get there. And just being honest about it, taking any ego or fear kind of out of the equation if possible, even if just for a couple minutes, so that you can get it out there and then start working on it.
Looking beyond what is to what can be.
Right.
That's what I'm taking from what you're saying.
Right.
You're awesome. You did a great job.
Thanks.
Good morning, Janine.
Good morning.
Based on today's discussions, what's your definition of being alive and well?
What I saw today, it seemed like everyone came to a really good consensus about what a perfect world would be like if we all did what we're supposed to do. And as I do my work at Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services in the faith-based community, if the church did what it needs to do, things would be well as well. So the takeaway for me is where the people have a will, there's a lot that can be done. And I think that the people that were at this meeting today have a will to do the work that needs to be done. The people that don't get things done are those who don't see the vision. And so our job is to help to share the vision with others.
How can we share that vision? Any thoughts about that when you were in sessions?
Well, we have to reach beyond our current borders because we're all talking to the choir here. We have to reach out to the people to help educate the possibilities to different social groups, the settings where people gather. We need to share what the possibilities would be because some people don't do things just because they don't know what's possible.
That's absolutely true. And you talked about working with the faith community and kind of what needs to happen there. Give me some suggestions from you of what you see needs to happen. Maybe write a prescription for our faith leaders that they need to take and make happen.
Well, since I grew up in a pastor's home, I know that the pastor's very busy.
Okay.
And so one way that we could agree on, anybody can agree, is that everybody in Missouri needs to be healthy. The church teaches it. The state of Missouri wants it. Our community wants it. We'll be better because of it. And so we need to capture the heart of the pastor in order to influence the congregations to implement changes within their communities to have healthier outcomes because they preach your body is the temple of the Lord, and we need to take that preaching seriously.
Well, I want to thank you for what you have expressed. Very well done and very well stated. I've got some quotes that I'm writing down that I'm going to use because of Janine. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
We'll see you again.
Alive and Well STL. This exciting information was shared with our participants and volunteers from our Alive and Well Ambassador Open House. We bring it to you, our listeners, to be a part and engage as well. All are welcome to attend. Listen closely for more of the Alive and Well STL Ambassadors Initiative.
We are grateful for your gift of time to this conversation. We encourage you to stay involved and get involved.
If you, your family, or your organization is interested in talking about how we better the well-being of the region, sign up for more information, join the conversation, log on to aliveandwellstl.com, and let's build a plan on how we can work together and improve our overall health and become alive and well. The Regional Health Commission with Chief Executive Officer Robert Friend Jr. committed to providing a detailed review of change over the past decade in 14 leading health indicators for the city and county of St. Louis. The first decade review of health status report, an update to building a healthier St. Louis. Discover the narrative, the data, and celebrate the progress already made to improve healthcare access and reduce health disparities in our region. Learn more at stlrhc.org. Alive and Well STL is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening.